Germany, a country known for its economic strength, stunning castles and fast cars, a beacon of European prosperity, is facing a new crisis: rising crime rates. A mere decade ago, Germany boasted the lowest violent crime levels in Europe. Today, however, the nation faces a stark reality. 2022 saw a staggering 200,000 violent crime cases, challenging the country's stability. Many attribute this rise to increased unemployment and crime among non-EU immigrants. But this narrative only tells part of the story. Welcome to Living History. Since the early 2000s, Germany has witnessed a steady influx of newcomers, but in 2015, the numbers soared to unprecedented heights, with over 2 million migrants entering the country. Though this unprecedented influx is often tied to Angela Merkel's infamous 2015 announcement, "Wir schaffen das," "we'll manage this," leading to over 1 million people claiming asylum in Germany during the following year, the story is much more complicated. In fact, Germany is facing a set of underlying problems that stretch back in time to well before Angela Merkel was even born. You see, Germany's current prosperity, with its impressive GDP per capita exceeding $53,000 and a life expectancy of 81 years, boasts a story richer than simply expansive government intervention or efficient German labor. In fact, its economic ascent was forged through a fascinating interplay of free market principles, a culture of industriousness and innovation, and remarkably, a heavy reliance on foreign labor. By the 1870s, Germany stood tall as a leading industrial power in Europe, its GDP per capita surpassing many northern and western neighbors. This, though, wasn't achieved in a vacuum. The rise of major banks like Deutsche Bank and Dresdner Bank facilitated capital flow for industrial expansion and international trade. As the world embraced industrialization, Germany became a major exporter of manufactured goods, particularly in machinery, textiles, and chemicals. But behind this success wasn't just a German workforce. Immigration played a pivotal role. By 1910, around 10% of Germany's workforce consisted of immigrants. Additionally, guest worker programs like the Wanderarbeiter brought temporary agricultural laborers from Italy and Eastern Europe in the early 20th century, further bolstering the workforce. There is, however, more to this story. Germany's innovative social market economy approach emerged in the 19th century and prioritized both economic growth and social welfare. It was underpinned by programs such as the world's first state pension system, courtesy of Prussian Chancellor Otto von Bismarck, and led to the flourishing of the famous German Mittelstand by actively supporting small and medium-sized enterprises, empowering citizens, and fueling economic prosperity. The model was in fact so successful that between 1871 and 1913, Germany's GDP per capita skyrocketed by 115%, outpacing most European nations. What often goes unnoticed, though, is the presence of over 1.1 million foreign workers in the industrial sector by 1910, which goes to show how crucial a role immigration played in this success. However, the aftermath of both world wars brought about significant changes, reshaping Germany's economic landscape as well as the relationship with immigration forever. The Adenauer administration faced the challenges of resettling wartime refugees. By 1950, West Germany became the new home of 4.5 million Germans from the territory east of the Oder-Neisse line who were forcefully resettled, and an additional 3.4 million ethnic Germans from various Eastern European countries, as well as another 1.5 million fleeing Soviet occupation in East Germany. Unsurprisingly, this massive resettlement effort strained resources, but also fostered a sense of solidarity with displaced populations, something that would leave a long imprint on the West German psyche. In fact, we saw Angela Merkel tap into this with her famous "Wir schaffen das." But let's leave that aside for a moment, as there is more to this story. You see, by the late 1950s, West Germany's Wirtschaftswunder presented a new challenge: a booming economy lacking enough workers to fuel its growth. Enter the guest worker program starting in the 1960s. The result, by 1973, the number of foreigners in West Germany reached 4 million. They represented 6.7% of the total population, and although initially envisioned as temporary, many of these guest workers ended up staying, forming new communities and contributing significantly to Germany's economic and social fabric. During the same time, East Germany, under the boot of the Soviet Union, was not booming. It was barely scraping together an existence, with no need for guest workers or in fact any reason to attract immigrants. Keep that in mind, as this will become important later on. On the other hand, back in West Germany, the booming economy was fueled by the guest worker. In fact, with a birth rate declining again from the 1960s, West Germany signed numerous recruitment agreements with countries such as Turkey, Italy, Spain, and Greece, offering generous social security, unemployment benefits, and family allowances, creating a safety net and improved quality of life compared to their home countries. Today, West Germany's historically welcoming policies are still in effect in a unified Germany. Citizens, native or immigrant, have incredible benefits because of the welfare state. Take new parents, for example. They can receive parental allowance up until their child turns 18 in many cases, a welcome financial cushion compared to many countries. And healthcare. Forget astronomical bills. The state covers about 90% of expenses, leaving residents with top-notch medical care at minimal cost. This system even extends to education, with public schools and universities offering high-quality learning at little to no expense. Of course, there's a flip side to every coin, and the influx of migrants in recent years has strained the delicate balance of the German economy and welfare state, raising concerns about its future. So, how did this new wave of immigration really affect the economy? First, the unemployment rate among non-EU foreigners in Germany was about 17.1% in 2020, which is significantly higher than the rate for German nationals, 5.9%, and EU foreigners, 9.4%. To tackle this problem, the government allocated approximately 23 billion euros as early as 2019 for refugee-related expenditures, including integration measures and language courses. But the generous welfare support still failed to improve the condition of many immigrants. Then, something curious happened in 2022. As Germany opened its doors to Ukrainians fleeing the war, these new refugees were integrating into German society much faster than other non-EU immigrants. On the surface, certain elements contribute to the smoother integration of Ukrainians. A significant portion, 72%, boasted university degrees, offering a vital edge in the job market. Additionally, Ukraine being the fifth largest learner of German globally meant the new arrivals had less trouble communicating in the native language. Surveys also indicate a higher level of public support for Ukrainians, creating a more welcoming environment. However, a deeper look reveals a more complex picture. Non-European immigrants in Germany face a complex tapestry of challenges in integrating. Language barriers restrict access to daily life, education, and jobs. Cultural differences create misunderstandings and isolation. Socioeconomic hurdles, including higher unemployment rates and unrecognized qualifications, all add up. And let's not forget we are talking about Germany here, where navigating bureaucracy is already an Olympic sport, and doing so in an unfamiliar language adds another layer of difficulty. All this, though, paints a picture of desperation. Germany, no matter how welcoming to immigrants over the centuries, is failing to integrate them into its society, which is undoubtedly causing problems for the country and the people who came here looking for a better life. And this is having a serious impact on the country and its politics. Chancellor Scholz's proposed tightening of migration laws and increased deportations raise concerns, particularly considering historical precedents like the 2015 deal with Turkey. While institutional changes might be necessary, resorting to fear-mongering and demonizing entire groups under the guise of racist policies only exacerbates the situation and fans the flames of public discontent. That's not all, though. The shift in policy, particularly by a chancellor from the left-wing SPD, comes off the back of political pressure caused by the rise of right-wing parties like the AfD, particularly strong in eastern Germany. Which brings us to the ever-present East-West divide in Germany regarding immigration, with the west of the country having decades of experience with guest workers who fueled the economy, while the East has decades of experience with deindustrialization, unemployment, and economic struggles, which has fueled a genuine distrust of outsiders. This division is starkly felt in today's politics in Germany, both regional and national, with many in the former East Germany feeling West German liberal ideals being forced upon them. Moving forward, Germany needs to address its East-West divide if it is to tackle the complex challenges of immigration, integration, and demographic decline, and safeguard its position as an economic powerhouse. To find out more about the historic challenges facing Spain, check out our next video, linked here.